The new Skoda Superb has landed in Australia with more spec, more tech and a higher price than ever before. So is it still a competitive family car? Well, in this review, I'll tell you what I think about it and some really great alternatives to it. So if you haven't already, please stick around and please subscribe. It helps a lot. Let's check it out, shall we? At launch, there is just the single spec level of Skoda Superb on offer. It's the Sportline model. You can have it with a liftback sedan for $73,990 drive away, or as a wagon for $1,000 more. Now, the wagon remains the most popular choice in the Skoda Superb lineup, and with good reason. It adds a bit of practicality and it looks better, in my opinion. But as I said, there's just the single spec level Sportline, and it does have a few interesting features for your money. You're getting matrix LED headlights, LED daytime running lights, LED tail lights, keyless entry with proximity unlocking as well. You also get a few blacked out extras on the outside like mirror caps and roof rails in black and black lettering around the vehicle exterior too. Now inside you're getting heaps of other standard spec, including a really impressive 13-inch touchscreen media system, a 10-inch digital instrument cluster. You've got configurable smart dials, and of course there's the connectivity you would expect, including wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, a 12-speaker sound system, digital radio, a wireless phone charger, a head-up display. You've also got climate control and a power tailgate, and a lovely set of seats in there with leather accented trim, heating and ventilation as well, with massage function too. So you are certainly getting lots and lots of features and plenty of luxury for the money, but it's a really luxury price, isn't it? 74 grand? Geez, what else could you consider? The best alternative to this, if you're okay with a little bit less grunt, but you still want something European and something Skoda-ish, is the Skoda Octavia. In fact, the Skoda Octavia RS would be a walk-up start. If you wanted to save 15 grand compared to this, well, you could get into an Octavia RS in liftback or wagon design with plenty of practicality, the same amount of power. It doesn't have all-wheel drive, but it is still a very thrilling drive, and it's got lots and lots of space. In fact, you don't really need this much space unless you are going to use it all the time, in my opinion. So Skoda Octavia would be a walk-up start if you're after something like this that isn't this and is cheaper. But also, I've got a couple of other alternatives that you might want to think about. Firstly, the Hyundai Sonata N-Line. It is a sedan, it's sporty looking and sporty to drive as well, with a very strong 2.4 litre turbo petrol engine. And it's got heaps of standard spec and tech, some annoying safety systems, which this car doesn't have, but it's a very compelling thing for the money, and it's got serious wow factor when it comes to the design. And another option that isn't a wagon, but is a very impressive sedan, is the Honda Accord. That luxury sedan costs less than this, and it's very fuel efficient, very powerful too, and very comfy and cozy and cushy and likable on the inside. And it's got some seriously lovely features for the cash, and it looks great too. But what would you do if you were looking for a car, not an SUV? Would this be it? Would one of those be it? Or would there be something else? Have your say in the comments. I'd love to know your thoughts. This new generation Skoda Superb is the best looking one yet, in my opinion. It looks fantastic, and these particular 19-inch wheels look great. They are quite chunky. Now, it's a very low slung looking thing, and in fact the dimensions tell you that it is pretty low, and it's pretty long, and it's pretty wide as well. I'll put the sedan and wagon dimensions on your screen because there is a little bit of difference, but it's still a gorgeous looking thing, in my opinion. I'd love to know what you think. Maybe one thing that is a little bit disappointing is the fact that it doesn't come as standard with a glass roof. You do get these black roof rails for the Sportline version, but there is no panoramic glass roof as standard. Hey, you might be fine with that. You might prefer to have a standard roof on the inside because, well, less heat ingress, in theory. Okay, so let's have a look at the boot space. Electric tailgate, as I said, and that's on the wagon and the liftback. And there's obviously a bit of a consideration in terms of the boot space. The wagon does have more. I'll show you the cargo capacity numbers on your screen now so you can see for yourself. It's a significant amount more as well. So let's have a look back here at some of the smarts, because Skodas are known for having smart stuff in the back. There's some flip down hooks for your shopping. There's also a little hidey hole section in there with, I think that's a picnic mat if you want to use it. And there's more hooks on the other side too. And there's these remote releases for those seat backs if you want to drop them down. Here, you'll find you've got a spare wheel underneath there, a space saver spare, and a little bit more storage space as well. And there's multiple different partitioning systems available too. So you can set it up so you've got nets and so forth to divide the area. Plus there's this really neat cargo cover. So if it's closed, well, all you have to do is just tap it like that and it will put itself away. Very, very nice design. And I mean, I think the wagon is the pick personally, but I'd love to know what you think. And hey, a ski port there too. That's pretty handy. Now, let's check out the interior more generally. Okay, let's have a look at the interior of the Skoda Superb, and I've got to say it is a pretty superb place to sit. Very comfy, very practical, very thoughtful. Wouldn't expect any less from Skoda. And let's have a look at some of the tech stuff. First and foremost, you've got a digital instrument cluster there, as you can see. It has configurability. You can jump between different designs and different menus on screen, minimalist look or the traditional dials or whatever it may be. There's multiple different views that you can choose from using the controls there. Love the fact that they're not piano black, they're not haptic, and they're very easy to learn. Same on this side, you've got some media controls and a steering wheel heating button there too, and your volume dial there too. And there's also your gear selector up off the steering column. So twist forwards for drive, backwards for reverse, and push on the end for park. And you've got paddle shifters if you want to play with the gears. And this little stalk here will be one that takes a little bit of learning. It's your wipers and also your blinkers and also your rear wiper. You will get used to it once you've spent a couple of days with it. And down below is your cruise control settings. So as you can see, there's distance adjustment as well as speed, and that one you get used to pretty quick too. I like this steering wheel, I like the design of it, and I like that screen, and I like the fact that there's a head-up display. You might not be able to see it because of the background there, sorry, but there is a head-up display. You can sort of faintly see it there, and it will also show up your speed zone info there if you want it to, so that's nice. Now this 13-inch touchscreen media system is a big step up from the previous screen in the last Superb, and I do like it. It does take a little bit of learning, as they all do, but I do think that it's pretty clever in the way that you can configure it. So up here you've got some buttons that you can change if you want to, but let's just say you want the drive modes to be up there. You can go through and change them by hitting the mode button. Up there you've got a safety assist feature view, so you can turn off lane keeping if you don't want it on. Your driver fatigue, you can turn that off there too. And there's a car view as well, so you can get a view of what is happening with the vehicle inside and out, and the data on what's been going on with your fuel consumption as well. So it's all pretty nifty and pretty easy to get your head around. And then you've also got a drop down menu here that you can add some favorites to. So if you don't like the lane intervention, you can switch it off each time you get back in by simply going boop, boop, and then it's gone. And that's really, really neat. Here you'll find you've got multiple colors to choose from. So you can even choose moods if you want to. You can set up your ambient lighting, which is obviously better to look at in dark situations, but it's all around the car, and it's something that your kids might bloody love, I gotta say. Mine does. Now down here you've got more of a home button, so you can go to some apps. You can jump into your seat adjustment here if you want to go through and play with the driver and front passenger massage functions, because there are multiple different massage functions available, and it is a really, really good massage, let me say. And the fact that you can put it out to 30 minutes of duration if you want to. Oh, I'm getting massaged right now and I like it. That is really, really great. You've also got seat ventilation and heating adjustments there too. Ooh, a dry boost. Strange. For the sweaty cracked among us. Now there's also a number of other regular screens there, as you can see, and down the bottom here you'll see you've got basically a home bar, so you can go in there for your climate control if you want to, but you can also use these controls down here with the smart dial setup. So This one here, you can change to be a few different things. At the moment, it's fan speed. So if I twist it, that'll adjust the fan speed, and the temperature is dual zone, as you can see. And I can use those dials there to jump between ventilation and heating. So you don't have to do everything on the screen, and that is excellent. Let me turn that back off. If it'll let me, there we go. And this dial in the middle, you can jump through a few different menus. That can be your volume dial. That can also be your drive mode selector dial, and it can be your navigation adjustment too, if you want it to. It's configurable as well. And I do like the fact that you do have a few hard buttons in there in the climate zone, so you can quickly turn on your recirc if you want to, or your demisters. That is simply clever. Sorry, I know I just sprouted the Skoda line, but far out, that's what that is. There's a wireless phone charger down there, a couple of USB-C ports, got your electronic park brake there, cup holders, and a little section here where you might want to store your vape. And in here, you've got a multi-adjustable setup with a 12-volt port in there too. And you've got these little trays that you can basically configure where you want things to sit. And if you're wondering what the hell this is, it's not a vape. It is a cleaner for the screen. So you can just easily wipe away those disgusting fingerprints, and it's a felt cover and it just sits there. And that's just one of the nicest little inclusions of any new car. Now up here, you've got illuminated vanity mirrors with ticket holders. There's another little ticket holder on the windscreen there. And up here, you've got lights, but no connected services. So you don't get an SOS call button. You also don't get a sunglasses holder. You also don't get a big glass roof, which might be annoying for some who like a big glass roof. There's an auto dimming revision mirror though. You've got big bottle holders in the doors, soft materials. It all feels and looks pretty bloody good. And these seats are really, really comfy. The material finishing is excellent. You've got electric seat adjustment, heating and ventilation for the front seats, and massaging, as I showed you as well. So it's all very good up front. Let's check out the second row space. Oh, before we get in the back though, yeah, you get a rubbish bin, and yeah, of course, you get an umbrella in the driver's door. Yes, in the back you can put up the shades if you don't want so much light, but it is a rather dark space anyway, because like I said, no glass roof, but you are getting heaps and heaps and heaps of space back here. Now the seat is maybe not the most comfortable of any new car that I've sat in, but I do like the fact that you do have a lot of legroom. Just look at that, I'm 6 foot, that's set for me, and I've got lots of foot room and a decent amount of headroom too. So if you've got tall teens, they should be pretty comfy. In fact, speaking of comfy, these headrests are not bad either. You got lights overhead if you want to use them. There are grab handles with little hooks for your coat. And down here, you've got some good amenities. You've got a climate control system for the rear occupants. They can adjust the temperature to suit their needs. There's also outboard seat heating, directional air vents, USB-C ports, but there's a big transmission tunnel intrusion. So if you do plan to fit 3 across, it might be a squish. You've got these multi-pocket pockets on the seat backs. There's bottle holders in the doors, soft elbow pads and ambient lights in the back here too. And look, I think it's very, very amenable for a family or for a business user as well. You've got ISOFIX points in the window seats, 3 top tethers, a flip down armrest. As I said, it can turn into a ski port if you need it to, but it's also got these cup holders and this little book holder if you want to use it as a book holder or maybe a tablet holder. It's pretty neat, I gotta say. Yeah, very, very nice. Under the bonnet of the Skoda Superb Sportline models that we get in Australia is a 2-litre 4-cylinder turbo petrol engine with 195 kilowatts and 400 Newton meters of torque. That is plenty, people. For a family car, it's actually very, very well spec'd. Comes with a 7-speed dual clutch automatic transmission as standard, or DSG in Volkswagen land, and it's got all-wheel drive too, which Skoda calls 4x4. Now, there's a few considerations in terms of the acceleration. So the 0 to 100 time for the sedan is a little bit better than the wagon. And let's also talk about the weights of these vehicles. There is a disadvantage for the wagon, but both models have really impressive towing capacity. 750 kilos unbraked, 2200 kilos braked. So if you are planning to tow, you'll need to pay attention to the tow ball down weight maximum limit too though. So could be a really good family hauler, don't you think? Now let's go see what it's like to drive and what it's like to live with. The Skoda Superb Sportline has some really great elements to the drive experience. Firstly, this 2-litre turbo petrol engine, it's a corker, 195 kilowatts, 400 newton meters. Of course, it's fast and it's fun and it's actually really reasonably powerful. So it's not like outlandishly quick, but it is zesty and zoomy and zippy, and it's going to make you feel like you've got enough grunt when you need it. And part of it also comes down to the fact that it's dealing with a very, very good 7-speed dual clutch automatic transmission. Now there is a little bit of lag to contend with. If you come to a standstill and the start-stop system works, it's not working right now, but if it does, and then you've got the dual clutch to contend with, you might get a little bit of lag, but like really, it's barely even there. It's only when the start-stop system works that you might notice that it does take just a second or two to get everything moving again. But this dual clutch auto, it's excellent. I mean, it's a typical Volkswagen family DSG, so it's snappy when you want it to be and pretty eager in the way that it behaves and manages the power as well. And you do have a sport mode for it. There's different drive modes you can go through if you want to. There's manual shift paddles if you do want to take matters into your own hands. And honestly, it's very, very good, this powertrain. But that's not all that's good about this drive experience, because it's got 15-stage adaptive dampers as part of this car as well. That's standard, so you can adjust the ride comfort to suit your preferences, whether you want it to feel firm or whether you want it to be cushy and cozy. There's a setting for it, and it is a really, really impressive chassis in that regard. And it handles beautifully and it drives beautifully. The steering is super predictable and very, very natural feeling. There are some things that I think could be better about it. The road noise intrusion into the cabin on the freeway on coarse chip surfaces can be quite loud. I mean, it is a family car with a luxurious price tag. Even if it's not officially an actual luxury car, it does have a high price and it should be quieter on the inside, in my opinion. There's just a bit too much roar and rumble in the cabin, and you do also cop a little bit of engine noise too. I mean, you might love that. You might think that hearing the engine in a sporty car with a Sportline badge is a sporty experience, but in some instances, I just wish it was just a bit quieter, personally. So yes, all told, it drives really well and it brakes great too. It's got really strong brake pedal progression, and like, you'll get used to the way that it drives. It won't be natural if you're coming out of a petrol V6 with a slush box auto, but you'll get used to it and you'll enjoy it. All right, let's talk fuel consumption. There are some numbers to consider here. The official combined cycle figure for both the liftback and the wagon is on your screen now, so you can see there is a slight difference, but not a huge one. And if you're wondering what I've achieved over my week of testing in this wagon model, which has included the sort of driving you might do, highway, freeway, a bit of stop start, a bit of the old errand running, well, you'll see that number on your screen. And I think that's perfectly fine for a vehicle this big with this much power. It's not the most efficient, but it's also not the least efficient. And hey, if you are really worried about efficiency, there could be a plug-in hybrid version of the Superb coming in 2026, hopefully, but I hate to see what it's going to cost, because I think it could be pretty pricey. All right, but what about the other considerations for your fuel? Well, you need 95 RON premium unleaded, so it might cost a little more at the Bowser, and the fuel tank capacity is on screen, so you should be able to get decent driving range from a fill. It's just, if you can get the official number, it'll be even better. There is a 5-star ANCAP rating, and that is pretty impressive. It comes with all the standard spec and tech that you would expect to achieve that kind of score. There's things like autonomous emergency braking with pedestrian, cyclist, and junction detection. You've got adaptive cruise control, lane keeping assistance, and emergency lane keeping. You can turn that off if you don't like it. There's also a blind spot monitoring system, front and rear cross traffic alert, which is excellent. And there's plenty of other great features, including a speed sign recognition system, which won't beep and bong at you. And I like that about it. There is a driver monitoring system as well, which will tell you if you're distracted by the screen, the big touch screen, and stop you from using it. It'll basically freeze the screen for a while. That's the most clever application of the technology that I've seen. Rather than just inanely binging and bonging at you, it actually means that you might change your behavior. And there's other things like a surround view camera system as standard, although the camera quality is a little bit lax, I gotta say. Compared to some of the others out there, it's a bit grainy. Now, when it comes to your airbag coverage, there are 10 airbags fitted to this car. So you've got dual front, there's a front center airbag, you've got a driver's knee airbag, there's front side airbags, there's rear side airbags, and there's curtain airbags for all the window seat occupants. So I think I've said this before, but this is an airbag festival. Skoda remains the only European brand in Australia with a 7-year unlimited kilometre warranty, and that is very impressive in my opinion. The brand also has a 7-year capped price servicing plan. It has requirements for maintenance every 12 months and 15,000 Ks. And if you pay as you go, it will work out a little bit more expensive than if you decide to get a prepaid service pack. Now you can get it either as a 5-year pack or a 7-year pack. No matter which one you choose, there will be a discount over the pay as you go servicing. And a bonus about that is if you do decide to go with the prepaid plan, well, you can basically pass that on to the next owner if you decide to sell after a couple of years. It should add to your resale value. And if you're worried about resale value and you want to finance through Skoda's financial services, they will give you a guaranteed future value if that matters to you. So basically, you'll know what the car will be worth at the end of your loan period, which is a nice bonus. And hey, if you're wondering about roadside assistance, the brand does give you 12 months for free, and then it will top up when you go back for maintenance at the Skoda network. So what do you think? I think it stacks up pretty well. It ticks a lot of boxes, this Skoda Superb. There's no doubt about it. It is a comfy and classy car, and it's very practical and roomy too. But is it too expensive? I tend to think it might be, but I'd love to know what you think. Have your say in the comments section below. And if you haven't already, please subscribe and ring the bell. That means a lot. Thanks again. See you later.